A warm welcome to another episode of Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria. My name is Zihelia Mamza, your anchor tonight. Dry season farming is one area that the present administration is tapping into in order to boost agricultural production and bring relief to Nigerians in terms of making food available. Various interventions have been rolled out and are still being rolled out to enable farmers farm all year round so that the country can have stable supply of food crops in both dry and wet seasons. But aside the obvious benefits of boosting food supply, dry season farming has other benefits which include employment creation, curbing rural-urban migration, and several others. In our package tonight, we shall be looking at these benefits and what the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is doing to realize the full potential of dry season farming. Keep watching.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
Transforming agriculture in Nigeria starts with news from within the ministry and around the agricultural sector. In the news, federal government commences the distribution of 42,000 metric tons of food to vulnerable people. Also, Agric Ministry inaugurates Innovation Committee to boost food production. Stay tuned for details after this break.
The federal government has begun the distribution of 42,000 metric tons of assorted food from the nation's food reserve to poor and vulnerable people in order to tackle hunger and stabilize food prices in the country. This was disclosed by the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, during an interactive session with the National Assembly Joint Committee on Agricultural Production Services and Rural Development. Kyari stated that the distribution will be kickstarted at various state capitals across the country. The minister explained that some of the distribution by the federal government would not be made public for security reasons, but assured the committee that a lot of states have started receiving food from the federal government food reserves. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security recently inaugurated the Innovation Committee to encourage innovative agriculture to boost production and other aspects of the agricultural value chain. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Temitope Peter Fashedemi, while inaugurating the committee on behalf of the minister, stated that with the negative effect of climate change on agriculture, the ministry needs a lot of innovative ideas that would boost food production in the country. Fashedemi urged members of the committee to work hard and encourage innovation in the sector.
The landmass is fixed. You cannot change the landmass, isn't it? And it is the land that you need to grow. That we have been known to grow food, to make food production and what have you. So, but it is fixed. And the population is growing. As the population is growing, they need land to build houses, to build schools, to build hospitals, all the things that are the same land. So, meaning that the available land for agriculture continues to shrink. We also have desert encroachment. We have climate change that is also ensuring that even the available arable land is also shrinking. Yet, you are in a ministry that has the mandate to increase food production. So who needs innovation?
Speaking earlier, the Director, Reform Coordination and Service Improvement Department, Udo Efik, highlighted the objectives of the committee, which include planning, initiating and implementation of innovation, among others.
Initiating, planning, and implementing all innovation initiatives aimed at building a strong culture of innovation in the ministry to enhance development of the agricultural value chain. Relate with the management for development and full implementation of identified innovation solutions. Headhunting for innovation top flyers for engagement in the service. Undertaking sensitization campaign necessary for assimilating innovation in the service. tracking trends, competition in innovation, with a view to adopting same for implementation in the ministry.
Members of the committee appreciated the permanent secretary, the directors and the ministry for giving them the opportunity, pledging diligence and commitment to the task given to them.
The program is transforming agriculture in Nigeria. The policy direction of the federal government in ensuring food security is in the area of dry season farming. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the program, dry season farming has benefits beyond boosting agricultural production. In our next segment on the program, we shall be looking at dry season farming and other benefits attached to it. Stay tuned.
Nigeria, with her over 200 million citizens, is known to be growing at 4% in added population annually, heading towards the third or fourth most populous nation in the world by 2050. With such huge population, nothing can be wiser than going back to agriculture for the greater good of the country. Thankfully, the government of the day has given priority to the agricultural sector in order to deliver employment, empowerment, food and nutrition security. The government also realized that rain-fed agriculture alone cannot produce the results needed for the goal for obvious reasons. Northern Nigeria, with a sizable percentage of the population, has only 4 to 5 months of rainy season, leaving 7 to 8 months of no rains, while the southern part of the country has about 8 months of rainy season, leaving 4 months of no rains. It therefore suffices that, in order to achieve what government sets out to do, all year-round agriculture is the way to go. And there is no way that can happen without dry season farming. In pursuing the realization of effective dry season farming and consequently all-year crop production, the government from inception came up with an agricultural policy that is pregnant with dry season farming that is overdue for delivery. In order to drive home its policy objectives, the government leaves no stone unturned in providing interventions that are critical in pushing the dry season farming agenda.
The most pressing actions we are currently handling is preparation for the next dry season farming, beginning from November 2023. To this end, some preparatory activities have been carried out and many others are at advanced stages. 1. Certification of available planting materials for some food security crops in readiness for dry season farming. 2. Aggressive promotion and preparations for dry season farming, which commences from November this year. 3. Implementation of the dry season wheat production, starting in November 2023 as part of the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket (NAGS AP) projects funded by the African Development Bank.
If Nigerians, especially the youth and women, look closer at the purpose of government, they will embrace the numerous opportunities that abound in dry season farming for everyone's good. For the aspiring farmer, it provides the perfect climate to produce a lot of crops like tomato, pepper, corn, wheat, barley, and rice. Nigeria's tomato consumption demands exceeds 2 million metric tons per annum, with a production capacity that leaves a gap of about 300,000 metric tons. For wheat, a very necessary produce for bread and pastries, Nigeria spends billions of dollars on importation to make up for the shortfall in supply of about 4,319 metric tons. Because of government's ban on importation, the need for rice importation, the most staple food in Nigeria, has reduced considerably due to increased level of production. But a huge gap still exists, even though the availability of quality high-yield rice seeds has made it possible for farmers to produce more tons per hectare.
The Agricultural Performance Survey is an annual activity conducted by NALS. NALS is National Agricultural Extension Research Realization Services. It's in Ahmed Bello University, Delhi. So they are responsible for conducting this survey in collaboration, funded of course by Federal Ministry of Agriculture. If you look at what they are reporting as output, for example, in last 2020, if I can remember very well, I think the output they reported as far as rice is concerned is about 7 million metric tons.
Dry season farming provides Nigeria with a means to meet her vegetable needs across the country. As a matter of fact, farmers across the country involved in dry season vegetable farming say they prefer to farm vegetables in the dry season because of its profitability.
For your opportunity to farm in dry season, we know that when we plant something in dry season, you know that maybe if you call somebody to, or you take it to markets, you will see small money, just a little, different than rainy season. That is why we need the irrigation to wet, so that we can be farmed either rainy season or dry season, so that the farm we can be going on.
With increased farming activities, dry season farming remains a key driver of a food and nutrition secure Nigeria. Facts on ground indicate that if Nigeria can utilize 50% of her potential in dry season farming, food security will not only be guaranteed, but Nigeria can equally export some of the crops that it is known for importing.
We have the enough potential to produce food that Nigeria demand and even export. But at this material of time, really, we are really moving towards that stage. At this material time, we cannot say that actually the demand that the Nigerian people need from food, actually up to now we didn't reach that place. But with the present government that have interest in agriculture, you can see there is a great improvement.
The prospect of dry season agriculture has always been very high. But whether have we exploited it as a country or not, no, I will say no, we have not. By and large, our agricultural development can only attain its optimum level if and only when dry season farming is taken as serious as rainy season farming. But it requires more infrastructure before we can attain that.
At the level of employment, dry season farming has huge capacity for youth and women engagement. For instance, one could be an off-taker, buying crops from farmers and selling to processors or for value addition. Salisu Sanusi, resident of the Hadeja Valley, has been an off-taker for the rice farmers for a couple of years now. He speaks about what he does and how sustainable it is to him.
Ina samun ta yanayin kaya ne, wani ya wuce wani farahi. Mafi sauki ana iya samun 14 da 5. In ta hai a gurin muna samu a wurin manoma 15. Mun kai ta kasuwa ana saya a hannunmu 14 da 15 da 5 zuwa 16 an samu sa'ar kasuwa. Ni daga lokacin da na fara yi, tun daga lokacin da na fara harkawa yau, shinkafa ba ta yankewa a wurina kenan.
All an off-taker needs to start business is a small capital for the first set of bags, a good knowledge of where to buy the commodity and where to sell and make gain. The dry season rice farmer could as well muster the energy to do value addition all by self, by milling after harvest and bag and sell at will. Malam Rabiu Suleiman, a moderately successful rice farmer in Kura does exactly that and gains more.
Wajen shekara uku kenan aka ba mu wannan inji. To ta gwamnatin tarayya ko kuma mu ba karba ba. Aka ba kaga mu wannan tallafi ne. To ita take haɓaka mana noma. Muke jin daɗin tallafin da take mana. Kuma Allah da hikima yake da muna yin shinkafa mu ba mata su zazzaba mana local. Mu kai kasuwa mu rinka sayewa na saya kwano to an samu ci gaba. Masu ƙarfi suna so injina da za su yi a polish a distona mu ma sai mu ɗauki kayan mu kai musu ka gama irin shinkafar za mu kai musu kamar buhu 10, 20, 30 iya ƙarfin ma 100 ne da kai za ka kai musu amma a silin ɗinta a mai da ta 50 kg akwai 25 kg wani a soye take tamun local ta da in ka kawo ka ajiye bai wuce da sati 2 ko 3 ko 1 kaga ta fara rima ba saboda ba a soye ta ba saboda ƙananan injina ne na yanzu kuwa injina ne manya wanda gwamnati masu ƙarfi suka so za a kai ma ita su distona da polish a soyanta ka ajiye duk mai so in ya zo ina siya in buhu ɗaya ne in 50 kg ne sai ya zo iganta ya siya in mai sari ne ma ya siya da haka na kawo ka kai ma ga irin ta.
In the rice production value chain, we also have the local rice milling machine owners who are making a fortune daily to sustain their families.
Da wannan nagan dubu daya muna yin shi naira 400 da wuta kenan kuma a rana muna nika buhu 50 har da sama da haka ma wannan aikin abin da yasa nake yin sa tasowa ne naga mahaifina yana yi kawai shi yasa ni ma na kama nake yi.
To set up one of these local rice mills takes an average of 500,000 to 10.2 million naira, including the polishing and destoning machines. With an average of 140,000 naira weekly, one's investment is recouped in a matter of months. Within that rice production value chain are the boys who make their daily pay moving the rice from trucks to the mill and vice versa. Daily, the rice cycle is a money-spinning industry, providing people's daily financial needs.
Ba da sana'a he shi ka shinkafa. Idan ne shi ka shinkafa nan ina samun 1,500 in zo wadatar gidana na baiwa 'ya'yana da jikokina.
Every farmer, including the dry season rice farmer, needs the input supplier. All the input supplier needs is a good knowledge of the herbicides, fertilizers, and other necessary inputs for supplies. For farmers to get their goods from farm to the marketplace or home, they need the services of the transporters. The dry season farming presents a huge opportunity for transporters to get handsome rewards for their services as they help to transport the farmers' goods to far and near places. There are also the laborers that help in loading the goods who also make enough to sustain themselves and others.
A harkar rayuwa an ka fito kasuwa yau da kullum sai Allah zai iya kasancewa yau ka sami kawai 2,500 3,500 4,500 500 naira.
Dry season farming is also very beneficial to petty traders and big-time exporters. Mr. Bisham from Pakistan is an exporter who buys produce from the local agents and take it to the One port for shipping to Europe.
It's a good business. Is export, is a agriculture export is a good business.
Okay.
And these products are very good from Nigeria, like ginger, hibiscus. They are the best products.
Why? What do they use it for in Europe?
They use it for like flavoring the like ice cream flavors or the tea flavors. They are using to flavor the food.
Okay.
There are those who are in the packaging business, selling bags, needles, thread, and sundry things during the dry season farming harvesting periods, including local women and laborers.
Ina sai da fatar buhu da igiya. Gaskiya ni a yanayin kasuwanci na ya danganta dai da abin da Allah ya kawo. Ana iya samun 2,000, 5,000, abin da ya samu dai har sama da haka ana samu.
One input the farmers cannot afford to do without during dry season farming is hybrid seedlings that could withstand the harsh weather condition. One could therefore choose either to produce or import high-yield seedlings for farmers. There are quite a lot of individuals and organizations in the business already. Of course, one would need certification from the Seed Council of Nigeria. Apart from contributing to food security, dry season farming also plays a vital role in addressing social vices in Nigeria.
The production of irrigated crops, we all know that it enhances the economic of this country. We know it will sustain the economy. In fact, this is the backbone economy of this country. If government can back up irrigation activities in Nigeria, it will sustain and it will remove all these social vices that is happening in Nigeria. Because most of the social vices happen during the off-season, where youth doesn't have work to do, especially in the rural areas. They have to embark into other menace activities.
The practice of dry season farming also significantly reduces the problem of rural-urban migration. People living in rural areas where there are irrigation facilities hardly leave their villages in search of menial jobs in the cities. In this farm cluster located at Damarke village in Makoda local government area of Kano State, about 1,000 farmers from Damarke village and other neighboring communities engage in different farming activities all year round to produce food and vegetables. Some of them who have migrated to the cities for menial jobs but are now back to farming all year round.
Da farko dai ina fita kudu neman kuɗi, sana'ata kuma shi ne a caba. To daga baya Allah cikin ikonsa na gane na dawo ƙauyenmu ina yin nome haka, noman rani, noman tattasai, noman shinkafa.
Magana ta gaskiya ni dai ba inda na taba fita tun da na abu nan ina nan karamin hukumar kuɗa ina noma dai na rani da na damuna wanda na rike a yanzu haka. Alhamdulillah na sami rufin asiri 100% tunda a yanzu haka da shi nake ci da shi nake shayar da iyalaina.
An ce noman rani maganin shi rani, magana ta zahiri haka yake. Mu a cikin harkar noma ba mu da kalmar zamu sai dai mu ce Allah mun gode maka. Magana ta zahiri da ni da iyali na da abokan zama da mutane da yawa mun ga mun amfana ko muna amfana. Tunda ba ma kuɗi mu ce a bari mu tafi wani waje neman kuɗi ko a yanzu akwai mutane da yawa da in ka ce musu ga aikin gwamnati zaka ba su naira 100 ba su ba.
The momentum is building up in dry season farming, and with government support, with all necessary machinery in place for all year-round food and crop production and harvest possibilities, there's no doubt that a lot of unemployed youth and women will find their place in the agricultural value chain for food and nutrition security in Nigeria.
Dry season farming holds the key that can unlock several opportunities. As the solution to the immediate problems of hunger, high price of food, dry season holds a lot of benefits for the farmer. All he needs to do is to secure the means to farm all year round and realize these benefits for themselves and for the nation. On that note, it's good night. See you next week.